Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just wanted to show you an interesting article that really went ballistic on my Facebook, where there was a question of Microsoft considering Python as an official scripting language to Excel. Now, with that in mind, it was a request. I'll show you that in a minute, and then they started running surveys. As for me on Office and all things Microsoft, I try to avoid it. Let me just show you some of the comments which can be a segue into my next topic here. You can see here I'm using a product here called Office or LibreOffice, which is free and true open source. I mean, it's not exactly the best solution, but it works really well for just basic stuff. So it includes your spreadsheet, not quite as sophisticated as Excel, some presentation, but I can use some of the Apple software for that. Data, all this, all I care about is really, if anything, is a spreadsheet. And but it does, it's okay, it's not great. Anyways, so that also runs on all the operating systems, Microsoft, Windows, Linux, as well as Mac. So going back to the topic of this scripting, I do get some, we'll call it odd comments. The first one was now a effing news. So obviously this person's angry at the world, and I don't know what he's trying to say, and just to beef up your English, it's like, now, I don't know if that is effing news, or I don't know what you're trying to say here, if it's positive or negative, but when you throw in that F in, it doesn't help out your cause. Anyways, the next comment was, which is very valid, why would you use Python in Excel when you can use just Python? The mind boggles sometimes. This is true, because with Python, I've always made a prediction that instead of us needing to know Excel itself, or even any of the Office stuff, I think over time, especially for Excel and data analysis with data science and big data and all that taken over, what I see happening is, with programming becoming more important in the world, I could eventually see Python taking over something like Excel, and that will be a basic requirement if you take on Office jobs, because a lot of the Office jobs now are just analysis, no different than quantitative or trading needs. I mean, it's on a simpler level, but I could see Python itself doing its own thing, where you don't really need Excel. You can do a lot of stuff with Python, not needing Excel, and I definitely agree with this. But again, Excel's for non-programmers. But I think over time there will be an expectation to know Python in any sort of analysis type of job that involves today's world of Excel spreadsheets. But who am I, right? Anyways, let's go back to the browser here. So as it says here, this was started by a feature request. So basically what happened was, this person, I guess, on one of Microsoft's websites, simple request came in November 4th, 2015. No more VBA. They wanted to do something like Python. 3,828 votes, over 200 comments apparently. A lot of people supporting the ideas. So what does Microsoft say? Thanks for your continued passion around this topic. I don't know when the date. So, okay, so this came out November 4th. Now it's December 14th, 2017. And they finally figured out that maybe, just maybe, they need to maybe consider this, because, well, hey, they got over nearly 4,000 votes. This is typical Microsoft. It takes them 2 years to figure it out. Okay, so now let's do a survey. We'd like to take more information to help gather, understand the needs around Excel and Python integration. To help us with this, can you please complete the survey below? Okay, here's a survey. So they ask where you're from, what kind of company you're with, your industry, your needs. fair enough. And I'm sure they're getting lots of votes on that. And when I looked at my posting, there seems to be a pretty popular option. And they ask about other programming languages as well. I think Python they could probably get away with, but not many people will be picking VBA. All right, so they got this survey running, and I'm sure that probably at some point, and the other request was they call for universal implementation across all Office apps. I mean, that would be pretty killer. We know that Microsoft like to push their Visual Basic, which is pretty well dying pretty fast, and with their proprietary ways, they want to keep it that way. But let's face it, Python is taking over the world from a programming language front. But here's the other thing, is that they want the ability to integrate it with a .NET library and include it, but they already have something called IronPython. So, funny thing is, when you look at IronPython .NET, you'll see this latest version. It's 2.7. 2.77 released, a year ago? Kind of reminds me of this. Request goes in 2015. Now it's addressed 2 years later. And here we are with yet again another abandoned project courtesy of Microsoft. Well, let's take a look at a couple other ones. Oh, let's check out what Python, where is that right now? This is typical Microsoft. They're just slow to react, only if the market forces them to, in this case. So if we want to download, we now have 3.6. So this IronPython is a little behind the times, even though, yes, there is Python 2.714, but they're only up to 2.77, so they're even really far behind in the 2.7 world as well. Kind of hilarious. So let's see how Microsoft is handling the revolutionary analytics when it comes to the R world. They were trying to integrate into so there is revolutionary analytics still. It's a standalone website, so they're still pumping stuff out. So R is still going over at the Microsoft world. But the question is, they have this Microsoft R Open, Revolutionary Mapper, and some other projects. Some comments here. Analytics acquisition is the wrong way. Let's see what this says from Ford. This is going to be typical classic Microsoft debauchery. The wrong way to embrace R. Excuse me. So, yeah, Microsoft are well known for getting excited on a project and then over time abandoning it. That's why I think I avoid all things Microsoft. Don't trust them, and let alone if you wanted to work on some of their projects, it eventually gets abandoned. And when you build a whole technical stack and a platform or something around it, and then suddenly gets abandoned, you're screwed. So that's why I'm very careful on the languages I pick in technologies. But no different. I think this will be one of those things where the market is over time going to move off of Excel and start using Python open source, and only Python, not Microsoft bastardized version of whatever they want to call it for Python. But that's just my thought. Just thought I'd put that out there. Interesting concept though, but who knows? But there's still a big force to be reckoned with in the industry. Over and out.